Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Google Workspace Recap, a Tab Geeks Network show. Each week we take you through everything announced by Google Workspace, discussing the updates of the week and other relevant news and announcements. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. Back from the cruise, and man am I glad that we did not try to record last weekend, or last week while I was on the cruise. The internet package that I paid for, which is called the Chat, whatever the name for it officially is just Chat, and it wasn't even really that. I was getting 500 kilobits per second up and down, and Google Chat wouldn't even load. WhatsApp did work. Google wouldn't even load in the browser, and it was painful. So I'm glad that I didn't have to upload from there. As it is, last week's episode didn't finish rendering in time, and I had to remote in from Catalina Island on my cell phone connection, which thankfully worked without a problem there because it's still California, and remote into my MacBook Pro that I left here running so that I could upload. And then once it was already in YouTube and in the podcast world, I could do the editing from there. So hopefully, or rather, thankfully, it wasn't that painful.
Yeah, good thing it made it eventually.
Yeah, got it up onto the airwaves, so to speak. And shout out to some of our folks in the Tab Geeks community over on Slack this week. We were joking around about me drinking on the cruise and having some fruity drinks. And they were joking about drinking and recording the show. And I said, well, we don't usually show it here, but, Steve is a bona fide whiskey expert. And, once in a while, I like to have a little bit as well. So you don't always see it. Usually you see my seltzer cans up here, but like some of the other more popular shows out there, we do some drinking while we're recording. Helps the creative juices get going, right, Steve?
Yeah, exactly. And this week you've got what Glenfiddich. Which one did you say you had?
The Glenlivet.
Glenlivet. There you go. And I've got a Redbreast. So there you go. It's our drinks of choice for today. Yep.
It's like the fashion shows. What are you wearing? For us, it's what are you drinking?
Yeah.
Trust me, you don't want to know what I'm wearing. $12 T-shirt from Target. It's blue. That's about it. Probably describe more about the scotch.
Yeah. Let's look at the updates.
What do we got?
And what have we got? So a few updates this week or last week. 4 that came out during the week, and then we had actually the one that is part of the updates end of week recap is actually a pretty good one. It was actually discussed in the Google Drive product roadmap episode that was that we talked about a couple weeks back. I think it was maybe about a month ago or so. Google kind of announced that change. There's some changes to the way that the sharing dialog box is displayed. And then, that was the silent release there in the end of week recap post. Published releases that we had during the week include data loss prevention for Drive, helps protect sensitive data when users upload files to external Google Forms, which is now generally available. There's a new option for styling fonts in Google Forms. There's the ability to adjust spacing between content and sites using new density theme setting. And then finally, Jesse's favorite one here, always related to tasks, but there's also another very intriguing component to this update. But easily print your task list. Yes, folks, I said print as in paper.
On physical paper.
Right. Yep, that's right. God. And then we also had another update to the Drive for desktop clients. So version 60 came out a couple days ago. And then in other news, we have an article that just actually got published today, in fact. So it just kind of hit the wire Monday, the 27th of June here, which talks about the timeline for upgrading from Google Hangouts to Google Chat. And that is kind of from the keyword there from Google's official blog. And then, of course, a couple media outlets picked that up. Next, of course, next topic is related to that Google Task update. So the title of this article is that Google Task gets gets its most boomer-focused feature yet. And that's from the Android police there. Another article here from Digital Trends talking about how someone switched from switched to a Chromebook for a week, and here's what surprised me as a Windows user. And then also happening today, which I realized this weekend, but then forgot to do anything about it until today when we had our prep call with Jesse here for the episode, is that GSuite Legacy is no longer going to be an option moving forward, and you were supposed to have upgraded before today, according to the email that you may have received. But the help article says that it's not available until after June 27th. So today, when I went into my Amazon console to try to preserve my individual and family environment, the link to the offer was no longer working. But luckily, reached out to chat and got it sorted out on 3 of my domains. So
Support.
I think if you are listening to this and it is already past the 27th, which it will be when you hear this, reach out to support. Go into the help icon on the top right. You'll have to click a few extra times to actually trigger a chat support, and you will get some assistance there. Hopefully, they'll be able to do it after tomorrow, and put you on the list and get you preserved there for the free environment. So just remember to do that right away. Don't waste any time, because it may be too late already. Who knows?
This
All
is
right.
your final warning.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It is
Final warning.
It is actually happening. Exactly.
Don't
All right.
panic.
So we talked about that that legacy licensing. That was kind of the details I wanted to talk about there. And then let's see. Next, we have that frictionless sharing across Drive, Docs, Sheets, and Slides. So what's changed here? So the dialog box that you see when you go to share a file previously had some slightly just confusing terminology, confusing functionality. If you clicked the icon down on the bottom where it said, get link, and you wanted to share it with someone in your organization, like if you clicked a certain way, it would automatically share it with everyone in your organization. And half the time I didn't even know that I clicked that versus, the option to kind of configure how I wanted to share it. So that is all changing. It is now called general access there in that section, and made it a little bit more clear as to what's actually happening when you go and click that. So general access, it has the drop down, so that whole entire kind of div tag there is one single button now. And when you click it, you actually have to click the drop down where it says restricted, and then you get presented with your options to share it with anyone in your organization, any of your target audience groups, or you get the option to do anyone with link. So it no longer kind of automatically applies a permission escalation, let's say, by just clicking something without really knowing what you've done. And then, it just looks a little bit different as well. So when that comes up, you'll have a little blue notification on the top to say, show me what's new. And it'll kind of walk you through there, saying that, it has people with access. You can manage access for individuals and groups. And then you have your general access, which allows or restrict general file access. And then in the top right, you even have a little support icon there to get help with sharing files and send feedback to Google in the top right. So one other thing too is if you didn't, I thought they were going to be changing this, but it seems like they haven't just yet. They were kind of, they did talk about on that event that they were going to make it a little bit easier to prevent viewers, commenters, preventing them to have the ability to download, copy, and print, but it is still in that little settings icon on the top right. So that's where you kind of have to access that. And that is where you can disable that capability on an individual file level if you so desire. So it's still in there. And that's also, so that's the viewers, and also the editors can change permissions and share toggle as well. When it's not in a shared drive, you'll have that additional option. So yeah,
It's nice progress on the sharing across the board
Yeah.
overall. Just much
Yeah.
clearer, cleaner.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some options coming that will help improve external file sharing with non-Google users. I think there's something like that coming.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Or
Well,
unless did we
pin
talk
sharing
about
I
that
think was
already?
the last major update to that.
Yeah, I think there's some new things coming. Keep an eye out for that. I think I saw something somewhere about that. But getting into our next update that we had for the week. So this is data loss prevention for Drive. Helps protect sensitive data when users upload files to external forms. Is now available. So this is that kind of annoying bug, that not bug, or I guess feature, that wouldn't allow you to upload a file to a form if your organization had any DLP rules, even though the form on the domain that it was from may not have had any DLP rules. The workaround up until now has been just open up the form in an incognito window. But this, I believe, is now going to allow you to submit forms and upload files based on some rules there for admins, so they can apply those conditions to allow that to happen so that you can upload files. In terms of rollout for this one, this is going to be on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility, started on the 21st of June, and that's for the rapid release domains. Starting on the 11th of July is the scheduled release domains, and that's going to be also a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility there. This is going to be available only to certain environments, just the Workspace Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Fundamentals, Education Standard, and Education Plus customers. Not available personal accounts and nonprofits and legacy GSuite Basic and business customers and all those others that I didn't mention before. Yeah. Next ones, I think the next couple ones are relatively minor, and but we'll get through them here anyways.
It's a cleanup week.
Yeah, exactly. A few little minor updates here. Next one is that there are now new options for styling fonts in Google Forms. So just adding some additional font styles and sizing options, giving you the ability to customize the header, subheader, and body text separately in Forms there. So keep an eye out for that. It started rolling out to those rapid release domains already last week on the 21st of June on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. And then scheduled release domains are going to start seeing this starting on the 7th of July on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility on that one as well. And it's going to be available to everybody that can access Forms.
Yay.
Yeah. Next one here is going over into sites. So you can now adjust spacing between content and sites using new density theme setting.
That's cool.
So site editors, yeah. This, of course, is using the new Google Sites and kind of adjust how far away those different objects are on the page. So you've got those, common defaults there of compact, cozy, comfortable spacing options, just like you do within your Gmail environment, for example. And that can kind of help customize the layout there for you. Also kind of split rollout between this scheduled release and the rapid release domains. The rapid release domains started seeing this rolling out last week on the 22nd of June. Gradual rollout to those environments up to 15 days for visibility. And then this, that was rapid release. I think I said, right? Rapid release. Scheduled release domains will start on the 13th of July and that is going to roll out a little quicker there. Full rollout will be a 1 to 3 day rollout for feature visibility, and available to everyone who has access to the new sites. And then Jesse's favorite here, you can now easily print your tasks list, and this is accessible from the three dots menu there in your tasks, going down into print lists, and the way that it will display on the print preview page, and the will be, I guess, more conducive to being able to print on paper.
Going backwards,
yeah.
Google. Wrong direction.
Yeah, I would say so. Exactly.
Of all the things you could add to tasks, that's what you went with?
I don't know how this gets prioritized as a feature.
I don't know.
Some of these features I don't understand how they get added to the the Kanban board or whatever they use at Google. It's like this would have been a feature will not fix.
Yeah, I bet Google has some tool like Google Voice that they're just keeping internally for years, running Google on it and not giving it to the rest of us like they did with Google Voice, until one day they'll be like, all right, you are worthy. We will release this to all of you now. You can spend lots of money
You're talking about like an actual tasks app. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Or just buy Asana. Either will work.
Yeah. You know what? Google needs to have like a really good acquisition. They have not really had one, I think.
They've not done a blowout acquisition in a while.
No.
Well, they like to do the little ones. It's the Apple approach. It's Microsoft that likes to buy the big boys. Big companies.
I don't know. I'd like to see some big acquisition from Google at some point.
Google is hiding from the antitrust teams. They're not going to buy anything big for a while.
Yeah, perhaps that's
trying to keep a low profile. Good old Sundar. Expert maneuvering. Wonderful job.
Yeah, well, these printing of task lists is going to be rolling out on the 23rd of June to both rapid release and scheduled release domains on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. And all of you folks who have tasks will get to take advantage of this new printing capability.
I jest, but I'm sure there are lots of people who will enjoy using it. And you know what? If it helps get some boomers on board, as the article later on calls it, the most boomer-focused feature yet,
Right.
then, maybe it'll help to soften the blow and transition them into using digital task lists. So, hey, why not? Good for us, good for them, I suppose. But still, come on.
Yeah. Next, we still have another little update here. As I said, Drive for desktop received an update here to version 60. I still haven't received it yet on a couple of my machines, but it did just get published as of June 23rd, and pretty minor in terms of the updates of what they list here as for Windows and Mac OS, of course, and there's some performance and stability improvements to the Mac OS users for the file provider, and then some additional bug fixes and performance improvements there. So I kind of would have expected that to maybe be a 59.5 release or something like that, but it gets a full version.
6.0.
Nonetheless, it gets a full version, I guess. I don't think there really are many minor versions of Drive for desktop that have come out before. I don't remember seeing many. It's always a full version.
Don't we have one
almost
now?
Always. Actually, there was 45.0.120.
Right. We're on 59.0.3.0.
Which skipped
right
45.
now.
So, is that what you have?
Yeah.
59.030. Yeah, you're right. I guess they don't publish all the minor updates, I guess, on the blog or on the updates page.
I don't know.
59 is the last one that they mention.
Well, it's like we were discussing before. Even the things that they do publish on the keyword, which is their top level blog, they don't even necessarily put them on the front page as, "Hey, we just published this." It's there. Got to go and dig down and drive down to find it. So,
So, all right, that's all the updates I have for you folks. Well, actually, I think we can include this next one here. It's kind of our additional news, but it actually is somewhat of an update here. It is that upgrading from Google Hangouts to Google Chat now has a date. sunsetting in November. So that will be
Officially,
when, yeah.
for now,
So
until they push it
what
out
it's
again.
well, hopefully not again. So what it says here is for most people, conversations are going to be automatically migrated from Hangouts to chat, so it's easy to kind of pick up where you left off. They do encourage users though who wish to keep a copy of their Hangouts data to use Takeout and to download their data before Hangouts is no longer available, which is November 2022. So make sure you grab that if you want to ensure that you have a copy of your Hangouts history. But as I said, it should fully transition over, but just in case, grab a Takeout.
Nice. Like I said that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I think we just have these two other articles here that you found there, Jesse.
Well, yeah, the Google Tasks one we kind of already discussed. It's the Android Police article talking about the Google Tasks feature that we mentioned. And the title here, I agree with 100%, is Google Tasks gets its most boomer-focused feature yet. And it's, wrong direction, Google. But again, if that helps some people get onto using a virtual task management tool, then great. I gotta say, my wife wrote out a shopping list on a sticky note the other day, and I was just like, "You're giving this to me in physical form? What do I do with this? Why isn't it on my phone?"
Yeah.
I had to take out my pen while walking through the aisles and start crossing things off. And
yeah, you just keep all that. Keep is great for the shared shopping list.
Keep is great for that. Asana is also great. You live inside of Asana. What's another task? I used another one also.
Yeah, but it doesn't suggest you the food though, like Keep does.
That's true. I like that Keep does that.
Because you just start typing the food,
tick.
and it's just like, oh, you want this, you want this, you want this, you want butter,
that's a cool little feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've also used Tick for that, and I think they do that as well. That's another favorite.
Heard of that. That's another task.
It's it is, yeah. It's very fully featured, but simple and straightforward. It's also MKBHD's favorite. That's how I heard about it, was by watching his videos. And it's great design, and Tick, really slick.
The first result comes as TikTok, because that's so popular these days.
Right. Well, it's number one in pretty much all the lists. No, it's Tick. It's got a blue, mostly circle with a yellow check mark in the middle of it, like any good task management app should, has a check mark in the logo, except for Google Tasks, which decided to change it and then bring it back and then modify it and squish it. But yeah, I mean, okay, we've talked about Google Tasks enough, I think. I'm just happy it's still getting features. Keep moving forward, Google. Good job. Let's go.
Oh, the icon actually looks like Google Tasks.
Yeah, that threw me in the beginning also. Yeah.
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 Interesting. Okay.
Except the Google Tasks is a full circle where theirs is not.
Right, and then it's got a little color there, so it's
Yep.
almost the same.
Yeah, not quite googly colors, but close. All right, next is a digital trends article. I switched to a Chromebook for a week. Here's what surprised me as a Windows user. First of all, I'd like to point out that the author of this article switched to a Samsung Galaxy Chromebook, which I don't exactly recommend. It depends which model it was. I can't exactly tell, but the 4K one has awful battery life. The 1080 one is very expensive for the specs that it gives, in my opinion. So, that may have tainted this a little bit. But they did enjoy the experience, and it's nice to see somebody who is coming over from Windows going, oh, hey, not only is this actually pretty good, but I'm shocked that with an Intel Core i5 10th generation processor and 8 gig of RAM, it didn't even really spike the processors with all the stuff that they were doing. They had 7 Chrome tabs and Teams PWA open, and the Android version of Teams, rather. And it wasn't even
Excel
at 50%.
Version and Word PWA as well, they said. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And, normally, as they state correctly, is you would expect on Windows laptops, versions of Chrome would be eating up RAM like it's nobody's business, like Cookie Monster over there. And that's true, it does. There's a reason why I have 32 gig in my desktop, is because Chrome is just a beast. I still swear by it and love it and use it, but I really wish they would do something about it. But this individual was pleasantly surprised about how much the Chrome OS sipped as compared to the actual desktop browser. So good start there, and that may be something to highlight when you're talking to folks that are saying, oh yeah, but Chrome does this, that, and the other thing. It uses up too much battery and it uses up too much processing power, and that's why I won't get a Chromebook. It's like, well, no, it's actually not. And that's something that I have always highlighted as well as a main difference here. And one of the great things about Chrome OS devices is that you can buy more affordable hardware and still get more power out of that hardware than you would on a similarly spec'd out or even higher spec'd out Windows machine. Mac OS is a different ballgame, different conversation for a different time. The M1 chips is literally a completely different conversation. Different playing field, different planet. I love the M1 chips, but that's besides the point. They're also crazy expensive, so some of the other things that they did not like here. Were you gonna say something, Steve?
I'm just talking about the the reason why it's different compared to Chrome on your Mac OS or Windows machine is just because of the architecture that's on those devices, and there's some ZRAM in there as well. So there's some different ways that kind of Chrome OS handles memory usage and allocation because it has that direct hardware access and it's been designed for that hardware. Much like
Macs.
I'm sure exactly how Safari
iPads,
is optimized for Mac OS devices, right? It's because the browser manufacturer is building the hardware too, so they can kind of tweak it to that. So just wanted to mention that, and like other things, like there's like this double wall low memory states that are also part of Chrome OS that just probably aren't part of other devices. Is tightly integrated in, like, I think it's kernel out of memory functions, things like that. So a lot of functionality that Chrome OS devices have to help optimize RAM utilization.
Absolutely, and like you said, it's built for the hardware and it's deeply integrated into the hardware, and it's not just a piece of software running on top of it. So totally agree. And I mean, Chrome OS as a Linux distro is also extremely light, especially compared to Windows. Never mind even just the Linux distros, but just as an OS directly compared to Windows, even Windows 11 is night and day in terms of resources used just on startup with nothing else running. So. Other things that they didn't like about it was app compatibility. There's not a lot of options. You can't install everything, but hey, that's nothing new. That's going to be there, and that changes and gets better and better every single day. And some of it is, yes, a Microsoft thing, as they state in the article, is that you can't use certain versions, or you can't download the Android versions of Microsoft Office anymore. You have to use the PWAs, and that was something that we talked about and ridiculed here. Is why move people away from a much better version? And if you're just going to be pushing the PWAs, Zoom did it too before it was fully built, fully baked. It's frustrating.
And that was a Microsoft
users.
change, right? That wasn't something that Google had done with the Play Store or anything like that, right? That was, if I recall, it's something that Microsoft decided to do.
Yep, just like Zoom, same thing. And they don't like the File Explorer, which if you're coming over and you haven't played around with it a lot, you're not going to be a fan of it. You do get used to it. Especially if you really lean into the Google Drive integration.
Really be using it. It's just be using
right.
Drive.
You should be using the Drive element there, exactly. And of course, anybody who is making content will lament the fact that there is no real good video editing option. However, Google has mentioned that they are bringing over. They have confirmed they're bringing over Luma Fusion to Chrome OS. So in a few more months, there'll be the ability to do video editing on higher end Chromebooks. So every day it gets better and better. I mean, one of the great things about Chrome is the speed at which they update it, or Chrome OS rather, Chrome too, but Chrome OS more so. And I think that's one of the things that they were highlighting here is as bad as the things they didn't like were, every day that it's in use, it gets better and better. So interesting perspective from a Windows user coming over to the Chrome OS side, and some reasons why it's now the second most popular OS in the world.
I generally really like Chrome OS, of course, but for my use case, it just doesn't work. And it's not because of any of the things you mentioned. It's because I have 100 profiles that I sign into.
Right.
And with Chrome profiles on Mac or Windows, it's very easy to switch between the hundreds of profiles that I have. It is so hard to do that on a Chrome device.
Well, you could do rapid switching between accounts. It's not as easy, but
Can,
because
but
it is a full account
yeah,
level switch, you're
right.
switching
You can't.
users.
Yeah,
Even
you
if they're
can't
all
have
logged in together
multiple.
at the same time, you can't have multiple browsers open at the same time. I mean, well, you'd have to log in incognito, and then you only have one. And I know I was doing
Right.
that today when you and I met
Yeah.
earlier. I did exactly that because I
Yeah.
was logged into my Westland account and
So
not into the Tab Geek site. So I just incognitoed it.
yeah. Yeah. So for me, that's the biggest reason that I don't know. It has not that doesn't align with my workflow. So I could imagine if someone doesn't have the app that they need that makes part of their day. I can see how that could be challenging to use.
Yeah, so for me, it's the
But
multi-monitor thing, and maybe this has been fixed since the last time I tried it out. But I mean, I've got an NVIDIA 2070 Super graphics card
yeah, I think
in
if I'm
my desktop to power my screens.
yeah,
I don't have that in any Chromebook or Chromebox, not even
right.
close.
Well, and speaking of multiple displays, you got a new toy, didn't you?
I did? What toy?
Did you talk about that already?
I don't know. What toy did I get?
The Cal Digit
Oh,
TS4.
yeah. I have that. I haven't brought it into the garage yet. I did. I got the CalDigit TS4, the elusive, the impossible to achieve, the never in stock, unable to get CalDigit TS4. I ordered it months ago, and it finally arrived. The Verge called it the most perfect uh, Thunderbolt 4 dock on the market, or the king of the Thunderbolt, whatever they called it. It was the best, basically. So
Okay.
I currently have the Anchor Thunderbolt 4, and it's working great. I'm running my setup, but I only have two monitors plus the one plugged in, and obviously this is a MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro problem, and probably wouldn't be as much of an issue for Windows laptops with Thunderbolt on them. Windows laptops have Thunderbolt? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
played around with it at all.
Well, you know what? I
It's
Thunderbolt
USB-C
looks the same
Thunderbolt
as
4.
USB-C, so
Yeah,
I
it's
don't.
really confusing.
You got to look at the details.
Right, exactly. But it's got 18 ports on it, and I'm excited to play with it because even right now with the Anchor dock, everything I've plugged in, I have a dongle and I have my external storage drives plugged into a separate Thunderbolt port on the MacBook Pro, just because I ran out of ports on the Anchor dock over here, and I think this has something like 10 or 12. What did it say I was using? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on there, and I still ran out of room for the dongle from my mouse, and what else is on there? I don't even know what else is plugged into there. Oh, my mic. That's important. And then on the other side, I have my whatever these are called, the G drives from I think it's Logitech, and that's direct into the machine because I want fastest as fast can be. Which I'm not sure I could do that with the Anchor. I'm pretty confident I can do that with the TS4. So I'll be doing an unboxing video. Stay tuned. Check out. Subscribe to the Tab Geeks YouTube channel. Yada yada yada. I also did an unboxing of Starlink Business. If any of you are interested in that, I'm
The
currently the
only
number
video on
one
YouTube, right?
and the only video on YouTube. I like to say that I'm number one, but I am in fact also the only video on YouTube that talks about and
Easy
shows off the
accolade to have
Starlink
then.
business. Hey, you know what? Marketing is marketing. I am number one. It counts. We are the number one video on Starlink business on YouTube. So, boom, mic drop. I won't mic the drop. I won't drop the mic. That would hurt everybody. Hurt everyone's ears. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist. I'm getting back into the swing of things, being back from the cruise and back on the high-speed superhighway of the internets, and it's good to be back. God,
Doing more IT stuff these days,
I
apparently.
am. Yeah, now we're getting into the schmoozing part of the episode. It seems I stepped back into a leadership role temporarily at my day job at Westland because the IT manager there had to take a step back for a bit, and it's been unfortunately the Tab Geek side is suffering a little bit. I'm not giving it as much attention as I was, but I did have a meeting today about our upcoming cybersecurity show. So fingers crossed
Ooh,
that's gonna
ooh.
be coming in a little while, and that is gonna be so much fun.
That'll
It's
be
gonna be,
the fourth show in the network. Is that right?
I think so. Let's
Because
see.
you've
Heroes of
got
IT, Workspace Recap, SaaS Showdown.
Showdown.
Technically, as when I launched the Starlink video, I launched WFX, which is Work From Anywhere. So that's the
Okay.
fourth show, and
Okay.
the cybersecurity show will be the fifth. And I also
Nice.
have the ITDRC show, which is the Information Technology Disaster Resource Center. The guys and women guys and gals that deploy
Oh, right.
after
Yes, I remember you talking
there
about that.
is a major
So,
disaster or emergency wildfire of some kind, and deploy technology into the field, set up networks, communications, and help all of the groups that go out there to do relief with technical support, and set up networks so that families affected by this or people that are affected by this can contact their families and say, "Hey, I'm alive. Here I am. Let's
is there
here's what I'm
like
doing,"
a
kind of a thing.
is there an episode, like a series from that?
It will
Is that
be.
what you're
It will
saying?
be. That's what we're
It will
working on.
be.
So we're hashing out the
Okay, it will be.
details.
Nice.
It'll
Cool.
be hosted on the Tab Geeks Network, and it's just a question of exactly the format it's going to take. And it'll
Nice.
probably be a number of different things, including going into what gear is used in a deployment like this, what a deployment like this takes in terms of planning. It's a lot of
Yeah.
cooperation. There's daily calls with FEMA and the other emergency services and agencies that are involved in this. There's a lot of logistics that takes place, shipping equipment around the country. A lot of gear is donated by Google, Microsoft, Verizon, T-Mobile, a lot of other companies. Ruckus is a big player in the space as well. There's a lot of Meraki gear that's out there that's used in setting up these networks and things like that. But also with providers. I deployed with them for the campfire in Paradise up in Northern California, and we set up a campground as the main refugee site for 60,000 people that were displaced from their homes, that were in smaller sites a little bit further north, that basically demobilized from those sites and came down to this one major campground area. And there was an existing Spectrum connection that was there, and it was some business 300 whatever, and with one phone call, not only did they get them to light it up to full gigabit, they got multiple gigabits connections set up. They had a technician come out and he wired the whole thing up, and they set it all up into various multi mesh networks and deployed it out to the campground, so that families that were affected by this, they still had their phones, so they used the on-site batteries to charge it up, and then they were able to connect to the ITDRC networks and get some connections to the outside world to start filing for even support and relief that's online. All of this, everything is in the cloud. You need internet. You need access to the outside world in order to get help in these situations. And so really, really phenomenal work that they're doing. And I'm hoping to be able to highlight that and maybe do a little recruiting, maybe do a little fundraising, but mostly just talk about the badass, awesome work that is done, not even always in a disaster, but also in prevention. So FEMA is often talking about, and other agencies are often talking about, what can you do beforehand? How do you prepare for something like this? Should you have a go bag? If so, what's in it? What kind of a go bag? Well, it depends where you live. Are you in a snowy region? Are you in a wildfire region? Technology, how does technology play into it? How can you get these things ready? So pretty excited about that show as well.
Looking forward to listening to it. Nice transition from the whiskey to the Kirkland can.
I did, yeah. Well, my glass is empty, so now it's just ice melt. Yeah, so those things are happening, but they're happening a little bit slower because I am full-time back at Westland. So whereas before I was half and half, or I guess 60-40, because I do work on Tab Geeks at night as well. So a little bit extra time there, and was working on all of the shows. And I apologize to everybody. I haven't gotten the newsletter out in a couple of weeks because of this, and it's just been a little hectic. And then I went on the cruise, and so for sure I didn't get it out last week. So I do owe you all a newsletter with a whole bunch of updated information, both the Starlink and the episodes from here, and latest job postings that I've seen and news and so on. So I'm going to try and crank that out this week. But if I don't, now you know why. So, but hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully it'll get back to normal in the next coming weeks, and I can continue doing this and bringing on clients, and then one thing after another, once the money starts really flowing in, then I can do this full time. Then we'll really get a lot of shows going. If I'm doing 6 shows part-time, imagine what I could do full-time. Gotta hire an editor, I think. That'll really open it up for me.
Yeah.
All right. Let's quit schmooze and let's wrap this up. We said it was going to be a short episode between the two of us, and every time we say that, we end up schmoozing because we know it's a short episode. So, you get a little more personality from Steve and I, despite the fact that we've never met, which is a testament to remote work. And we really have to make that happen. We're coming up on episode 100. We are getting close.
Yeah. You know what? Let's stay on after this. and
Open,
chat. There's some other
open
things
your
I gotta talk to you about. Yeah.
Google Flights and come on out to visit, and we'll
Yeah.
record. Probably not in the same room because I'm not set up for it, but we should do a special episode. I'm sure we can figure it out. We're both pretty well-established IT folks. I think we can figure it out between the two of us, how to make this sound good. Alrighty, that's all for this week, folks. Send us your questions and comments on Twitter at Workspace Recap and on our website, workspacerecap.com or tabgeeks.com as well. If you want more information about everything else that we're working on that we just talked about, hit the subscribe button over on wherever you're listening to this, but also especially on YouTube, youtube.com/tabgeeks. Then you'll be able to get the all of the shows that we talked about, not just the ones that are on the podcast channels, such as WFX, which is only a YouTube show. For now, I might make it a full show, but review shows, I don't think that really works so well on podcast. You really want to see what I'm unboxing and setting up and playing with, so we'll experiment. We'll see. Anyway, have a great week. Good to be back, and we'll see you all next week, next time on Workspace Recap.